My name's Winifred. What balls? Welcome to our Halloween edition of Stitch Mania, the talk show with our very special guest, Michelle Garrett of Bendy Stitches.
Hi, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you here.
You really are.
I'm stoked. Ever since you started this, I was like, when is it my turn? I'm ready. Sign me up.
You get Halloween.
You do.
Here.
So go ahead, Garrett.
I was gonna say, so obviously I dressed for the occasion.
Right.
Hey.
Or what I call Wednesday night.
You know.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
It's a Saturday.
Is it Wednesday? God, what day is this?
That's true. It is not a Wednesday. It's a Saturday when this drops.
It's like October the 200th, and
Oh my gosh, yes.
you know.
Yes. We've lost all track of time and days at this point.
It doesn't
Time
matter.
has no meaning.
No,
Days
it really
have no
doesn't.
meaning.
All that matters is Garrett looks amazing.
Totally. You look phenomenal.
You know,
Yeah, I'm going to lose it every time that happens.
Yeah.
it's true. It's
It'll be
true.
fine.
I've got socks in my boobs. So.
Oh,
I'm
Garrett.
classy, y'all. I'm
You're-
classy with a capital K
Yes.
and an emphasis on the ass.
Indeed.
That's what he said.
I'm putting the ass back in classy.
That's right. Oh my gosh. So this is where this is gonna go. So
Exactly.
everybody grab a beverage and buckle up.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
You know, now you know.
We got tricks and we got treats and we have dogs barking in the background.
And we
Oh.
may actually have that when people get in. Obviously, thank you to everyone who hung in for us during
Yes.
the move. I'm finally mostly in. We've still got
Yay!
pictures and such to hang, but we can park in our garage, and that's really what matters.
Woohoo! Garages are great, man.
They are. They are.
We don't
Being
park in ours,
far
but
into it, that's a major move milestone when you get
Yes.
enough boxes out of the garage. So
Mhm.
you're there.
Yep, we're down to literally just the hanging stuff on the walls.
Nice.
So
I like your little book corner.
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Got all my Oz, well, not all of my Oz books. There's a case over there that's got some. There's a case over there that's got some. There's one in the bedroom that has a little bit. But
You got a few books.
the important thing is, though, I actually have like a shelf and a half of expansion space.
Oh,
And these aren't totally packed, so I can still fill in. And there's also books on top of this shelf and then one over there that you can't see, but I've still got room to grow.
that's right. Room to grow. Room to
Perfect.
expand.
That's perfect. So, Michelle, we are so glad to have you here as our second official guest on the Stitch Mania channel.
Crazy. Thank you.
Yay!
A whole lot of me.
Sorry. Well, see, now that we're going to have a blooper reel,
Right?
so tell us about the biggest change that we've got going on, Garrett.
Okay, so I'm going to announce tonight our Patreon. The link will be down below.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 official tiers. I don't think we're going to have beyond the 3. We may add, but I think it's going to just be the 3. The first one is $1 a month. With that $1, you get a free pattern that the lovely Bendy Stitches is designing for us.
I will totally design that. I will design that.
Yay!
Yes, because we go live on Saturdays.
I will design it very soon.
So everyone gets it. It's $1 a month. You'll also get early access to new episodes. So what we'll do is we'll have unlisted episodes for the first 24 hours. We'll link it in Patreon. And so you can all enjoy it the first time early, and then the next day it'll be available to everyone. We don't want to put it where we're behind a paywall because that's not what this is about.
No.
But this at least gives you a little extra incentive for $1 a month. And honestly, the pattern's going to be worth $1 anyways, at least.
Will.
No pressure, Michelle.
No pressure.
I can make a $1 pattern. I can do that.
So
Totally
we're
do
calling
that.
that our slightly Maynia tier. Then our definitely a Maniac tier is $5 a month. You get the same features, plus you get a blooper reel that's an exclusive. So you get to see all the hilarious things that get cut from both the individual episodes from Katy and I, as well as our guest episodes with some of our guest stars. And hopefully you'll find them entertaining.
We
A
do.
lot of content. I'm just letting you guys know, just from this video, that's gonna have a lot of content.
Yes, they will.
then we're going to have what we call the VIP patron, the extreme maniac. It's $10 a month. And on top of all the other things, you also get to do a monthly Zoom chat with Katy and I. So you can come hang out with us and Stitch. It'll be probably an hour, maybe 2 hours, where we'll host. We'll be there. You can just drop in, ask us questions, tell us stories.
Show us your stitching.
Show us what you're stitching, see what we're stitching. And so that'll be a monthly. So if you wish to contribute, please feel free to join us as Patreons. And we're going to be as transparent as we possibly can with the with where the funds are going. So the first place it's going to go to is to pay someone to caption our videos for us, because as we have found, that is a difficult and time-consuming process that I certainly don't have the time for, and I know Katy doesn't either, but we want to make sure we're accessible to everyone we possibly can be. So we're going to have someone to officially do all of our video captioning for us. So we'll be paying them because we feel like it's worth it's worth paying them to do.
Yes.
That's awesome, you guys. That's such a good idea. I have to steal that. That's a really good idea.
So that's the first thing we're going to do. Obviously, we will probably have money left over, and we'll do that to put towards things that we haven't quite discussed yet. So I'm not sure what we'll use it for, but we will use it, and we will make sure you're aware of what we're using it for, and we'll do everything we can to document that as well as possible. We may use it to donate to organizations. We may use it if we have to fund us to go to, say, a Stitch convention, to be there to mingle and do maybe a special event there. Don't quote me on that, because I did not run that past Katy, nor have I really thought all that through terribly well. So don't quote me on that one.
Well, and plus we're still in COVID quarantine time. Who knows when the next in-person convention is actually going to be?
we won't be using it to go treat ourselves to fancy lunches or anything. It's going to go towards Stitch Mania, the talk show, in some capacity.
Yes. That's the plan.
That's so cool. Congratulations, you guys. That's a huge step.
Thank you, Michelle.
We're very excited.
I'm happy for you. Patreon's really, it's a really user-friendly platform.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed by it.
It's nice. Both on the creator side and on the consumer side, because I create and consume over there, and it's
I've used it on the consumer side. This is my first time on the opposite side.
Really nice.
So I support good old Adam Ellis / Adam Tots, the cartoonist who does all the fun sort of pop culture and gay themed comics.
Nice.
And started really branching into really interesting like horror comics. Yeah, definitely. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. Because he started on BuzzFeed. It's at Adam Tots, TOTS, like tater tots.
That'll be our Instagram person for the week, since we didn't pull that out otherwise.
But he's got some really cool, like he's got one about this like ramen noodle thing that's weirdly scary. One of a macrame tapestry that's surprisingly not like scary, like, oh my god, I'm not gonna sleep, but they're nice and ooky. I definitely dig it.
Oh yeah, he shows up in my stories all the time. I do follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, he's hysterical. I absolutely adore him.
I love how you're like, wait, I already follow him.
Hold on. I didn't know the name.
I'm ahead of the curve here.
Like everyone, when you look him up, you're gonna know who he is.
You do, yeah. That was
his stuff makes the rounds constantly.
Yeah, he's always getting reposted.
Yeah, he's hysterical.
Yeah.
Anyway, so go and join us over there. If you have any questions about it, Garrett is the person to ask about those questions. Just saying now.
That delegation.
You made me make a blooper reel. You get to answer the questions.
You're the best.
It's true. I tried to build this so that I had as little to do with it possible. I'm not.
That's just smart, man. That's just smart.
You're lucky I love you, Garrett.
No, ooh, I can lean back and you can get a good shot of the girls in this.
They look great, Garrett, really.
Thank you. I'm drooling. Hello.
Oh, me too, with that costume. I mean,
sure, yeah.
Goodness.
It's all drool worthy, man.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did all of this in the 20 minutes I was on the phone with my brother this evening. He called as I was like, well, I got to get ready. So I went back and I shaved.
Be right back. You guys keep chatting. I've got a dog barking in the background I need to go take care of. I'll be right back.
You know, Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island.
Because we're awesome, man.
Come out wherever you are.
I'm a fan of the follow across all platforms.
Exactly.
I don't just need to know what you're doing on Facebook. I need to know what you're doing
everywhere.
Even though, like, a lot of times it's the same information.
Sure.
I'm still gonna, like, yeah, I'll follow you wherever.
Yeah.
Wherever and everywhere.
Because that way you're sure not to miss something.
It's true.
If you go in a phase where you're not checking Instagram constantly, if someone's only posting on Instagram, if they post it on Facebook or elsewhere too, you're not missing the information.
Yep, that's true.
And, you know, and honestly, I notice that I tend to float, not as much with YouTube, because that requires, I don't want to say concentration.
Focus.
But that requires actually having to be situated somewhere for a long enough period of time to justify the video playing.
Yes.
So I tend to vacillate.
Mm-hmm.
There's a $5 word for you. Vacillate. I tend to vacillate between Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm on an Instagram kick.
I am an Instagram junkie. Like, I post on Facebook and I scroll the groups sometimes, but like Instagram every day, all day, it's an addiction. It's bad. My name is Michelle and I'm addicted to Instagram.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
No judgment here. None at all.
And I know that. And I love that because Stitch Mania, I feel like it's the place that I can go wherever I am on the internet, right? And it's safe and it's inclusive and I can consume beautiful things and I can talk about things. And so thank you guys for that. Like, it's always a safe place to go.
Yes, and we strive to do that as best we can.
Yes. You guys work hard. I see you working hard to keep it inclusive and safe and protected. And
well, thank you.
And we've done, I think, now granted, I'm going to say this and watch on Thursday next week. It's going to explode on us. But I think we've kind of really gotten the group to the point where we don't have too much because people know what's expected, what our stance is, and that, you know, we're beyond, you know, when we first started the group, and I don't know if I can say this or not, when the group was first started before Katy came on board, it was actually intended to be the opposite of another very popular Facebook group that is no longer in existence, because they had very intense stitch-alongs that they would do, but like if you didn't follow exactly, you would get criticized and called out and just all sorts of drama, and there were rules upon rules upon rules upon rules upon rules. And so when we initially started Maynia, this was pre-Katy, that was kind of the goal behind it, was our only two rules were, you know, or no, our only rule was don't pee in the shower.
That was the only rule. That was
the only rule, because that's lazy.
Yeah.
Kind of gross. So as long as you didn't pee in the shower, you were allowed to come play with us. And so at the time we really were very cautious about, you know, because there weren't that many, you know, 5 years ago, there weren't that many groups out there. So it was a lot of, we want to be inclusive. We want to bring everyone in. We're not going to say too much. We're not going to ruffle feathers. And really, I think this last year, especially, we've reached, pardon my language, fuck it, is where we are. This is how we are. This is what our group is. If you don't like it, the door's that way.
Yep.
Right. Well, and I mean, I think the world we're living in now, right, is if my feathers are constantly ruffled, like every time I see a commercial on TV or hear a news story or hear about the latest amount of COVID cases in my county, my feathers are ruffled. So like if you somehow can squeak through in 2020 without a ruffled feather, like, you're not paying attention. You're just intentionally missing the entire world that's happening.
Or you're living on a deserted island somewhere, and where are you and can I come?
Or you just have that much white privilege.
Yeah,
that too.
Let's be honest.
You have the privilege to ignore everything.
Yes.
And I'm not here for that. I'm so
No.
tired of people choosing ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we
And
are too.
And I appreciate it that when people come in to Stitch Mania and they make a post intentionally choosing ignorance, you guys are like, no,
See ya.
no more.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. With
Well,
a
and-
quickness.
And people, I mean, we have talked about this before in other episodes where, you know, to join Mania, we have 4 questions. Are you a Stitcher? Because God help us, we don't want to have any more Lilo and Stitch.
Although that seems to have kind
That
of
has calmed down. That has
calmed down, but there for a while, yeah, it was like all these like, and
Lilo and Stitch fans.
And it was all weirdly, primarily people from the Philippines. And I don't know if the movie was just that big of a hit.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then maybe something was being lost in translation as well.
It's very, very possible.
Yeah.
Very possible.
It was very interesting because it was rarely, if it was going to be someone who was joining thinking it was Lilo and Stitch,
Yeah.
that's where they were from. And it was so oddly inexplicable.
Yeah, it was. So we put that out there. Are you a cross stitcher or other needle worker, since we accept other things besides cross stitch?
Sure.
How did you hear about us? Which, I mean, we like to find that out, but that's not a
Yeah, it more helps us like when we get like those sudden like
influxes of
like someone's mentioned us on Reddit, and then all of a sudden we have like
50 Reddit people. Yeah.
Right. That's more of like an interesting like who's talking about me.
Exactly. And I love the ones that say, oh, I was at my Michael's checking out and the person behind the counter mentioned that they're a member and that we should come and join. And those are the kinds of stories that I love.
Yes. Or like my favorite is like there was one time, and I think it was like you were on vacation, where I had been at Stitch Niche and talked about it, and someone overheard me, and they're like, oh, I overheard you talking about it at Stitch Niche. I was like, oh,
all right.
Why didn't you introduce yourself? Like,
hi.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 questions are the 2 that get people. One where we have, are you an adult? You know, I am an adult and I can scroll on by. And then the other one, acknowledging the rules. And if you're not led into the group, it's usually because you did not answer one of those 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. Because you won't believe the number of people who come in and say, oh, I'm an adult, but I'm going to speak my mind if I don't like something. You're not in.
Right.
You're not coming in.
You 100% just missed the point of that question.
Exactly.
Yes, you're not being an adult. You're being a child.
Can you read the directions and follow them? Yeah. I'm an adult.
And I always wanted to have a child.
I recently saw a really good post on Instagram, and I've made changes in the way that I speak because of it. And it said, when you say something, 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 but everything you said before but is a lie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, I really respect your position, but why don't you just say, I don't respect your position, here's why.
Yeah. Exactly. Just be honest
about
it. So
like, I'm an adult, but I'm going to speak my mind. Okay.
That's nice. You're a legal adult.
Yeah. And that's I saw the same post, and or maybe you reposted it, but I had the same sort of.
It happens every, yeah.
I'm a reposter of things. Somebody posted it.
Yes, somebody posted it.
I
may have seen it from you, or I may have seen the original. I'm not sure which.
Either way, it's a good one.
It is. But yeah, I think also 5 years in, we have learned a whole lot more than when you initially start out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and for example, things that we've learned that's a little less controversial. We are working on getting the sals for next year scheduled, but we're cutting way back. We are cutting because we have gotten way, I mean, we kept having.
We got and it was funny because when we started, it was just like
Maynia.
1 month. And then somewhere we got the idea of, oh, well, let's do a color of the day one. And then let's add in the birth sign one. And then let's do this. And then let's do that. And there was one year I actually was like, I am going to do all of the sals that we create in Maynia because I'm the worst.
I think it's either last year or this year.
And I don't ever participate in my own stitch along.
Me either. But it's so much fun to start them, isn't it? It's so much fun to
suggest them. But then I never actually participate. So like I sat down and I had this binder and I wrote down all of our different sals and I wrote out what I was going to work on those days. And I was just like, bam, 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 organized. And I made it through the middle of January.
That's not bad. That's 2 weeks. That's good.
That was as far as I go. Well, I say that. I did actually hold in because that was the year I was working on the the Zodiac, the Clouds Factory one.
Yes.
And I did actually hold in on that up until our trip to New York. And then I got derailed. And then I left it. It's still 6 months from being finished.
That's okay.
I got halfway done and then I got derailed and then it went in the bag.
How many pieces do I have upstairs that have, you know, if I just sat down and do them? No, it's more than that. It's an obscene number.
Is my go-to number.
That's low.
394.
That's low. I'm in the 500s. I'm in the 500s. Yeah.
That is impressive.
Well,
yeah,
I did
I'm still under 100.
I did the year of starts in
that's right.
2016 or 2017, and then I did another one where I got about halfway through.
Yeah, you did a year and a half of starts.
Yeah, I did a year and a half of starts, and then I've added some more here and there since then. Yeah,
That's, just to be clear, that's a start every single day.
Oh yeah,
in the year.
Oh yeah, that was was that 2016 or it was 2017 maybe.
I want to say
look back.
2017.
I have to look back
because I remember you had it for sure at the Floss Tube retreat.
Yes.
Because you and Kate were both like, I've got like 18 starts this weekend. Like, I have giant Harry Potter. I have my Mirabilia that I'm starting.
Garrett, I brought 2 projects.
I brought 2 projects.
And Kate and I brought like 20.
Yeah.
I am wicked impressed by that, Katy.
Yeah, no, and Kate was like stitching in the car in hand because she stitches in hand. She was stitching in hand in my car as we're driving. And I'm just like, I would be like vomiting all over the place.
That's why she's the queen of
in the car is life. Stitching in the car.
Yeah, no, I can't either. I get too motion sick
all day.
I would love to, and I can I can probably do it for like half an hour, and then I have to stop for a while before I pick it back up again. Half an hour is about my limit because that's what I can do when I am stitching.
Yeah.
Now in an airplane, I can do it.
Yes,
totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I have stitched on a plane, kind of like snakes on a plane, but less dangerous. They're just motherfucking stitchers on this
motherfucking plane.
Best line in
a plane, stitching on in a car, stitching on a boat. Have you stitched on a boat?
I have not been on a boat to stitch. No,
I've never been on a boat. Period.
What about never been on a boat?
Never been on a boat. I mean, I've been on ferries.
I stitched.
Anyway,
so good.
Oh you're just like, yeah.
Yes. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all taking a drink.
Salud.
I full on forgot what we were talking about.
Places that we've stitched. I said I've never been on a boat.
That's right. I've stitched on a ferry. There it is. Okay.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Next time, note to self: no eye makeup.
Or waterproof. Make
Just
it
get
waterproof.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I'm not that fancy. I'm like I'm the Maybelline with the pink bottom and the green top because that's what my mom used when I was a kid.
I don't use any
mascara from the 80s.
Yeah, I've got a whole bag. Actually, it's kind of cute. I'm not going to get up and go get it because that's all the way on the other side of the house. But I've got a cute little makeup bag that I got right before my Disney trip in 2013. Walgreens did this whole Disney villains line because it was in October. Mm-hmm. And so my makeup bag is Ursula, or as I call it, Pursula.
Pursula.
That's so punny.
So punny.
And I was so upset when we went to New York and the airline lost our luggage temporarily.
Oh no.
Because Pursula was in it, because that's what I use when I travel with all my, not makeup, because I don't wear it when I travel, but it had like my toothpaste.
Stuff, like toiletries,
things that I need. Yes. And I was I was more mad that I thought they had lost it because of Pursula than I was for the fact that like 2 pairs of tennis shoes and like other things were in there.
No, replaceable. But
totally.
Pursula.
But Pursula, yeah.
So do you carry Pursula on now when you travel? Is she a carry-on item, or
I haven't flown since then? But yes, she would be a carry-on from now on.
Because I feel like once you get scared like that, like once you get the fear put in you.
Oh yeah.
You're like, forever and always, this is a carry-on.
Oh yeah, no, it's like there are certain things, whatever bear I'm going to be sleeping with is a carry-on. My stitching is a carry-on.
Yeah.
Cell phone chargers.
Cell phone chargers are always carry-ons. Yeah.
All electronics are carry-ons for us.
I was packing for a retreat and I was taking Black and Sky and I put it in my luggage and then I was like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, that is so out of print. Like, I was like, you should carry this like stuff down the front of your pants. Like, that shouldn't even be.
Uh-huh.
So, I checked myself.
By the way, you are kicking butt on Black and Sky.
Yeah.
I am.
You're almost done, aren't you?
Well, it's relative. I'm on the bottom, so there's 2 more blocks. So I'm 2/3. But
okay.
You know what's sick is like I just started tracking my days on this project, and I started it. Oh, this is its 2-year birthday.
Happy birthday!
Oh, well,
Happy birthday!
When we filmed this was its 2-year birthday.
Yes.
12 days, 13 days I've worked on Black and Sky this year, and I could be done with that thing. You know?
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. When I was still tracking stitches for Magical Stitches, it was weird looking at going, wow, there really weren't that many days that I spent on this, but it sure took me a while.
Right.
And it's like, if I could be a monogamous stitcher, I would probably be much more prolific, but I just can't do it.
We have seen 2020 beyond its other 2020-ness. It was a couple weeks ago was the 1-year anniversary of me finishing my Whovianized Time Traveler.
Oh, that is so good. Oh. Yeah. That is like one of my favorite pieces of all time.
I have barely stitched anything since then.
You're in like the finish coma to end all finish.
Oh my, I am. I mean, the last time I had a finish coma this bad was after I pushed for the stockings after my son was born. And then I didn't stitch for like 3 years. Wow. So I need to get back to it, but I think it's also the 2020-ness of everything. That just stitching requires more concentration than I have in my head available right now.
Well, you've got 2 kids that are home. They're trying to help with all that, and you've got a dog and a husband.
My husband is going to be home for the next 2 to 3 years, COVID despite, because they're moved there, which is why we have a new angle of the office here.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, he rearranged his office to make it a little bit more productive for him, because it's going to be they're going to be doing a whole bunch of other construction and basically eliminating every office, like the physical little offices in his floor, and making it all open, drop-in space, so no one has like a permanent seat, and encouraging everyone to basically work at home.
Oh,
so
that's smart.
For the next couple of years, he's going to be home, which is fine. I love my husband. It's great. But dog, 2 kids in school, husband working at home, I don't have the mental capacity right now to, I think, focus on.
Until you settle into whatever your new normal is going to be.
Once my kids go back to school, whatever that may be, that's really going to be it.
Well, and I mean, this time with this move, I was 3 weeks basically with no stitching whatsoever, which was real weird, but it was like, I would get home, I'd do stuff around the house, and then by the time I sat down, it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I've been feeling when I come home from work lately, and it's like, I've just been knitting, which is, it's not mindless because it's a newer skill for me, but it's less. I don't know if like it's because it's bigger, like because Black and Sky is on 40 count, so I have to like focus for that. Or if it's just because it's not like so much reading a pattern. Like I can knit 100 stitches in a row without looking back at the pattern again.
Yeah.
So it just there's everything else is so draining that you don't want,
Yeah, I mean that's mad props to every teacher out there who is doing, Garrett G2,
who is reinventing education from the ground up.
Yeah, I have reinforced, this year has reinforced why I will never be a teacher, because I am basically, when my kids are done with the day, if they still need help on something, or my daughter only has in-person classes 2 days a week. Her other 3 days a week are asynchronous classes. So I'm having to help with basically be a 5th grade and a freshman year teacher of all subjects when they need the help, because they can't get it in the same way that they used to get it at school. And that's just utterly exhausting. And all the props out there to every teacher who is dealing with this, every parent who is dealing with this, because, you know, as soon as my kids go back to school, whatever you guys need, you want it, I will give you whatever supply you want. I will give you whatever you
be in a
need.
Target and hear a parent complain about having to buy like a classroom set of markers again.
Never, ever again. And you know, the thing is like every so often, you know, we'll have a day where I'm like, I'm so ready to send the kids back to school. And it'll be that day that I'll get a notification from the school district of, hey, a staff member or a student has tested positive at the kid's school. Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of like, well, that reinforces why they're not in school.
And now I remember why we're doing this.
Exactly. It's like, okay, all right, that gives me a little bit more energy to deal with this for a little while longer. Because the last thing I want to have happen is have either of my kids go back to school and then they be the ones that catch it and bring it home. I mean, it's just, so mad props to all the teachers out there.
Absolutely.
Garrett, tell G2 I have even more respect for him than I already did.
Absolutely.
As a teacher.
Thank him for
yes.
us.
He will definitely appreciate that. Yeah, there's one of the things that, and this is sort of something that I don't think anyone actually considers unless they're married to a teacher or are a teacher, but our nightly routine usually after, you know, up until this year is after we would take the dogs out for the final time for the night, he'd usually go shower and then come back and read for about an hour. And then about 10 o'clock, we would stop and watch an hour of TV together. And, you know, random, you know, Lucifer, Ozark, you know,
whatever you're watching at the
whatever's
time.
on.
Whatever series we happen to be on, and it was always a fairly wide variety. Or if it was a half hour, we'd watch 2 episodes.
Sure.
And Lucifer its new season dropped right when school started back.
Yep.
He made it 15 minutes into the episode before he was asleep.
Yeah.
Because he was just that tired.
So tired.
So we've been rewatching Third Rock from the Sun, but even at that, and then since the move, at least, I'm finally getting back to my ability to stay up past 10 o'clock. But he still usually falls asleep towards the end of the first episode of whatever. And I mean, it's just, he's that tired because of how much has changed and how much more is physically on him.
Yes.
And, you know, and he does it. He loves his job. He's, you know, a great teacher, but I don't think it really sets into people who aren't teachers or aren't living with teachers just how much it's affecting them as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, and everything's 1,000 times harder, right? Because when you have a classroom of students and somebody needs extra help, then you can just take a second and go over to that person and physically like be near them and help them. You know, especially like Rosie, she's a 2nd grader. So like they need the hands-on.
Yes.
And right now, if somebody in Rosie's class needs help, you can't stop everything and help them via Zoom.
No.
And that must feel terrible too, as a teacher, to know that like kids are needing help and they're needing him and he can't help them. Like he knows he can help them.
Exactly. I mean, my daughter has dysgraphia, which is basically, for lack of very simplistic, not totally accurate description, is like a math version of dyslexia. And she has always struggled with math. It is her hardest subject. It does not sink in. And she now has a standing appointment with her algebra teacher that she's worked into an asynchronous day when the algebra teacher has an hour. She has worked it out so that she can have that time. And, you know, that's taking time that she could be doing other things. It's during school hours, so it's during the school day, but that's taking time away during one of her async days for doing all of her other stuff to prep for later on in a way that she wouldn't have had to do if we were all in person.
Right.
So, you know, it's just 2020. I know we're at the end of October here, but we still have like 2 or 3 decades to go before the end
2020.
of the year.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. I was thinking about it today because so many people, I work at a hospital and so many people are like, oh, I'm just so ready for this year to be over. And I'm like, what magic do you think is going to happen on January 1st? Like, the ball's going to drop. The COVID's still going to be flying.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change. So
we were talking about that at work day before yesterday, and one of my about masks, and I was like, you know, fortunately we're we're socially distanced pretty much where our cubicles are. So when we're at our desks, we don't have to have them on. Just when we get up away, or if someone comes to our desks, or for the people who are in offices, you know. And we were all kind of lamenting because no one I think enjoys the masks.
No.
I don't like it because it makes me seem approachable now.
It really cuts down on the RBF.
I know, seriously.
But I said, you know, it's gonna be, I think, probably towards the end of next year before we're able to sort of relax on it, because we're gonna have to have a vaccine. We're gonna have to, the vaccine's gonna have to be in effect for probably 6 months to really start showing. So we're looking at the end of 2021, maybe even 2022, before the restrictions can really, really lighten. Like, I'm fully expecting, well, fingers crossed, that live theater is back by the end of next year, but we're still gonna have masks, and it may not be, and God forbid if it's not, because God, do we need the arts in this country?
Yeah, for real. There was something really interesting on PBS about a few, and of course I was knitting, so I wasn't paying close enough attention to know where the theaters are, but some of the theaters are doing like socially distanced productions, and they're putting up all kinds of plexiglass, and there's like, you know, limited audience, but of course it's not
the same.
People are able to consume the art, and the artists are able to get their work out there, but it's not financially sustainable.
No. And it's what's been especially interesting too is a lot of them have done it like as live streaming, or there's a theater company in like the Tennessee area that what they've actually done is they've acquired an old drive-in movie theater, and they're doing sort of a simulcast on the big drive-in screen with actors down in front, so you can sit in your car and see it, and the actors are socially distanced, but it's big enough that you can actually see what's going on from the inside of your car.
That's cool.
And I think that's been, and it's been a really, it's been interesting to kind of watch their journey. Unfortunately, you can't stream their performances, so I have no clue what it's like, but it's interesting seeing a lot of like the licensing houses are quickly rewriting contracts to allow the option for streaming, so that there's a way to try and keep things going.
Well, and Paul and I were having this discussion the other day. I don't see movie theaters being something that really recovers, because you have all of these big movie companies who have discovered that they can submit it straight to the home through Netflix or Amazon or whatever other service they get it, and people will pay the money to watch it at home. And
you know, and
life will be so much different.
It will.
So much different.
It makes me sad though, because I do love going to a movie, right?
Me too.
I had one of my well, she's an adult now, but like when the Harry Potter movies were coming back, bringing it back to Harry Potter, she was like 13 or 14, and she was one of my karate students, and her parents trusted me to take her to the midnight shows. And like none of my friends wanted to go with me, so I would take her with me, and like she thought she was so cool because she was like 15 at the midnight show, and it was just so much fun, and it's a whole experience, and I feel like you're not like I miss that. I do miss that, going to a theater. Yeah. But you couldn't drag me. You would have to knock me out to drag me into a movie theater right now.
And it's interesting too, though, because with that, while there are, you know, I know there are people who are more than happy to pay the extra to see it. For G and I, because the two of us, unless we went to somewhere where we're doing in-theater dining as well, it's not cost effective for us to do it. So unless it's just a movie that we are desperate that we must see, we're still waiting.
Yeah.
So that I know is going to cause its own issues as well. You know, for instance, like I really did want to, you know, because I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan, that's well known. I was excited to go see the new film, but I still waited until it went to HBO Max for my subscription cost, because I couldn't justify $25 for a movie that I was going to watch probably one time.
Right. Sure.
So, because he had no interest and I wasn't about to do that.
Sure.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they approach that as well. And I'm mildly angry because there are several films that I was super excited to see this year that have been postponed
Sure.
for another year. So it's going to be interesting to see, and it's going to be interesting to see how like the Oscars are going to have to change how they do everything. I mean, they currently allow streaming, but if you can't host a movie in a theater for a week,
Right?
Exactly.
and you have to do it weirdly, you have to do it for a week in the Los Angeles area for it to be eligible for the Oscars.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
So, but right now you can't do that. So that's part of why they canceled the Oscars. They didn't want to have to make a decision about streaming.
Yeah.
Weirdly, the Tonys are still going on. Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle and I both kind of give it a look at the same time.
So this actually, and some of this actually kind of entertains me, I'm not going to lie. So there were only 3 new musicals that were eligible. Well, there were technically 4, but the Percy Jackson musical was so bad it was completely shut out. So the 3 choices were the Tina Turner bio musical, Moulin Rouge.
Oh, I love Moulin Rouge.
And I forget what the third one was, but it was another one that was a review. So no original score whatsoever. All of the best score nominees are plays nominated for their incidental music.
Wow.
So that is one thing.
I mean, that's good, right? Because then the people
it gets the plays a little bit more.
Yeah.
The bright side.
Because of the way that it's structured for how you are nominated for leading versus feature, there's only one nominee for leading actor in a musical, and it's Aaron.
Who's gonna win?
Yeah, well, and that's the he still has to get 60% of the votes.
Ouch! What if he doesn't win against himself?
Exactly, which is hysterical. Now I fully expect Aaron to
retire.
He was the guy who was Danny in Grease Live. He's on one of the TBS TNT shows.
So he'll get it. He'll get the vote.
He'll get it. He's talented. He's not undeserving. He was Andra Loss in the Les Mis film, and like the only one who could actually sing.
Okay.
So I mean, he's certainly talented, and I do not begrudge him. But it's just sort of hysterical that he's and we haven't seen that since the last time this even sort of came close to happening was in '95, when the only 2 new musicals that season, only 2 new ones whatsoever, were Sunset Boulevard and Smokey Joe's Cafe, which was all songs of Lieber and Stoller.
Yeah.
So by default, Sunset Boulevard won book and score because there was nothing else to nominate. And there were only 2 nominees for actress that year.
Default.
Wow.
Oh man, that would be worse. I think no. So I thought being the only nominee would be bad, but only having 2 nominees and not winning, that would.
Yeah. Well, it was, unfortunately, that was the year. It wouldn't have mattered. There could have been all 5. It was Glenn Close for Sunset Boulevard.
Oh yeah. Well, okay.
Never mind. Then losing to Glenn Close is not like losing.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
I was nominated with Glenn Close. Is a win.
Yes.
Is a win.
It was on the same piece of paper as Glenn Close.
They had to choose Glenn Close over me.
It's so weird how all of this is working, and the Emmys are still able to go on because TV is a much different medium, but it's been so weird, and I'm ready for things to return to normal. But by the same token, I think it's interesting that we've seen all of these virtual gatherings, and in some ways I actually feel more connected.
Yeah.
I think. Because especially things like, as everyone knows, I'm a big Oz fan. The Oz community, they've really have done a lot of these virtual conventions. So people that I would have only gotten to see if I could afford to go to California once a year.
Sure.
I've been to see a couple of times during the year and interacted with it. And so I think one thing it's really taught us is how resilient people can be.
True.
Yeah. And how not easily, but how thoroughly we can adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
you know, because and how not to rest, right? Because like you know, to speak to the Oz conventions, like I have plenty of Stitchy friends that I would see at retreats, but only because we are retreat junkies, and I would kind of rest on, I'll see her at retreat. So maybe you don't send that email or that text or whatever, but now I'm not going to see her at retreat, so I'm going to text her and email her because otherwise I lose contact, and I'm not okay with that.
Or jump on a Zoom call. Yeah.
Yep. I don't talk on the phone.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I actually will talk on the phone, but
it's very limited who I will talk to on the phone.
Yeah, it's obviously my mother
Oh yeah, well,
yeah.
I'll talk to.
you have to answer the phone if your mom calls, right? It's some kind of law or something.
Yeah. But I'm more likely to hop on, but I'll hop on a Zoom call with no
Oh yeah,
problem.
I will video chat you or text you, but don't call me on the phone and just voice talk. I'm so awkward. I can't.
Yeah, it's like,
it's so bizarre because really, I mean, we're sitting here looking at each other, having a conversation, and you'd think that could even be more awkward. But no, it's totally normal.
Oh, no, because you guys can see how awkward I am, right? So it's fine.
And we love you anyway.
No, you're fine.
This is just how she is. She's just this awkward. But if I'm awkward on the phone, you're like, is she being weird? Is she not paying attention? Like, this is.
It's like, it's like that old, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Although I do start every Zoom with, can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, can you see me? Can you hear me? Good. Right. Yeah. Great.
It's on.
We all have had to learn new technology. Like my father is a judge. He's retiring at the end of this year, so he's not on the ballot this year. It was very weird not having him on the ballot this year. Yeah. But he is the oldest judge in the county. I love my father. He is very technologically challenged. He just is. But he has mastered doing Zoom, all the legal stuff they're having to do on Zoom. They're doing, testimony and negotiations and plea deals and all. So our county has taken a lead role for the state of Texas in teaching other counties on how to conduct court hearings and all of that sort of stuff via Zoom. And one of their biggest selling points is our oldest judge can do it. You can do it too.
But he sounds like he's probably one of the a lifelong learner though, right?
Oh yeah. Oh God. You give my dad a research project, he will research the heck out of it.
I think that's another thing that this pandemic has taught us is you're gonna need to keep learning how to do stuff in different ways.
Yes.
And you can't just rest on but this is how we've always done it. I hate those are some of my least favorite words in the English language.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, but this is how we've always done it.
How many people are working from home now? We're told, no, I'm sorry, you can't work from home.
The accessibility factor is incredible. Because although how pissed are people who have been begging to work from home for decades, and then all of a sudden we have to work from home, so now suddenly we can make it work.
Yes.
That's a little, I mean, at least we're there.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of the opposite of that. I'm glad that my job has allowed me to continue going in, largely because it's banking. They could probably find a way, because there are people who are working from home, but the cost for it to switch over being a small bank isn't really there. But for me, it's been a blessing because I would have probably gone stir crazy.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm
at home.
I'm 100% the the same.
I've been so glad, and I'm so glad that we're able to do it safely and socially distant.
Sure. Yes. Responsibly.
Do I miss my potlucks? Oh yes. Yes, I do.
I miss seeing, because in the hospital, we do not take our masks off in the hospital.
No.
It doesn't matter if you're in an office by yourself. You can take your mask off in the cafeteria or a selected break room while you're eating lunch 6 feet away from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I miss seeing when I run across my coworkers in the hallway, we freak out and we're like, oh my God, it's you. Oh my God. Cause we don't socialize anymore at work, and you don't realize how much you socialize with your work peeps. Mm-hmm. I'm just happy to see half of people's faces.
Yeah. Well, it's I've had to learn from coworkers what their eyebrows mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Eyebrows have gotten so much more expressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm one of those people, I smile at just everyone, and I will occasionally be the weirdo who's like,
I do that. Oh my God.
You're never.
And it's I wonder if they realize that I'm actually smiling under here, and I'm not just
I started going doing this to the in the hallway, and then I realized man, I hope none of the docs are taking that the wrong way.
Well, I work with all women, so if they take it the wrong way, that's on them.
Right? I don't know what you're talking about. That was just my eyebrows. They're on overdrive right now.
Well, since we started taking Teresa to physical therapy, you know, we've never seen any of these people
Right.
without their masks on.
Yep.
So I'm like, would I even recognize you like in your full face? Because it adds so much and it subtracts so much.
It's a legit question.
And they've all learned, you know, the communication still is like incredible with the eye contact and the expressions. And my very socially anxious daughter loves it there, hates physical therapy, loves it there.
Yeah.
Because they all are, you know, warm and wonderful and great with her. But, you know, she's had to do it all half masked. And I think, you know, it's actually given her a little bit of confidence to be half masked, I think, too, which is kind of an interesting little thing. But you know,
That is
don't you love the random tangents we're going on that have nothing to do with stitching?
I was about to say, since
everything to do with
technically this is a stitching.
Oh, should we talk about stitching?
Should we?
So we probably should. So tell us, Michelle, how did you get started stitching?
Oh my God, really? Okay. My
We
grandma.
gotta just be on topic for a few minutes here.
That's okay. That's okay. My grandma taught me. She had me stitching on pillowcases, like pre-stamped pillowcases with like a super sharp needle.
Oh wow.
And probably like Cosmo floss. It was variegated. I just remember it being variegated, and it came out of a skein like DMC when I was like 6. So I think the year I was 6, like everybody in the family got a pillowcase for Christmas because my grandma thought that would be a fantastic idea. I wish I still had some of them, but they're long gone. But so I would stitch the pillowcase, just the end, and then she crocheted like the most beautiful border to go around the end of it. So we made them together, and yeah. And then it was not cool for a while because then I was 12, and then in 7th grade I had the choice in home ec to sew an apron or cross stitch, and I cross stitched this little it was a race car, and it was 3 colors. It was 4 colors. It was like a black, a gray, and then a ton of orange. It was like DMC 920 and then DMC 742. And I gave it to my dad, and he still has that thing.
Oh,
Like a 25-year-old color block race car. And then I really picked it up in college because I went to University of Michigan. So like if I wasn't at class in the wintertime, I was in my house because it was cold, and I don't do cold. So I would pick up kits. Like I got a dimensions kit, stitched it all up. I used to so stupid. It was this beautiful dimensions kit of these 2 geishas that were under this tree, and they were beautiful, and it took me months and months and months, and then I sold it on eBay for $83 so I could buy another kit.
You live, you learn.
Because I would have that back in a heartbeat if I could, but I will never stitch it again. It took ages.
And probably worth more than $83 too, I bet you.
I know. You gave me like 50 cents an hour for that thing. But you live, you learn. So that's me. And then I found floss tube, and I think you were 2 of the. I know Garrett was one of the first that I watched, and I'm pretty sure Katy, because I was like 400 projects. Because I was a monogamous stitcher when I found floss tube. And you guys just popped my head off, and then I was like, oh, it's on.
We're bad influences, and we don't apologize for it.
No, I love it. Bring it.
I would say I'm sorry, but I don't like to lie to you.
No, don't lie to me. Don't tell me you're sorry. And then I remember the first time, because Kelly, my friend Kelly Ann, she was like, are you in Stitch Mania? And I was like, what is this Stitch Mania magic? And so I was all over floss tube, could not find it, because I was spelling mania like mania, not like mania.
Yes.
And I found it, and I was like, start 15 projects in the month of May? Yes. And I got projects in, and I was like, no. But
there's a lot of people who do that.
I've only actually done original Mania once.
I know.
Was it even the first year? I don't think it was even the first year.
No, it wasn't even the first year but part of that was because when Stitch Mania was decided on that very first year before it became a group, it was like April 20th.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and I had only been stitching like 6 months, and I didn't have enough of a stash to do that with.
Right.
So
I do love the idea of Mania. I just can't.
Mania's fun to watch too.
It's amazing to watch. People do.
Uh-oh.
And I love like all the variations, right? Like the
Yeah.
Blimey Cat method is now a thing, you know, and I love it. Start an ornament every day, I love it. I love it all. I'm here for everything.
Hi, Lily.
So how did you get started designing?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question.
I'm taking all your questions, Katy.
It's fine, whatever.
You know, so
You're the queen today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We have to listen. So I love Stitch magazine, which is the British publication. And so Stitch magazine had a Patreon, and they were the first Patreon that I ever became a member of. And at the $25 level, you could put anything you want into the magazine. And the theme was love. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna design something. And Jamie, like literally, I pay him. He has to put it in his magazine. Like he has no choice. So I designed my little love thing, which was I was watching Harry Potter at the time, so it's like a little plant, and then there's a flying key. And I said to myself, like, if one person stitches this, then I'm going to design something else. And literally one person stitched it on Instagram. And I was like, that's good for me. Here I am, world. But then, because, you know, I really thought, like, there's so many good designers out there.
Sure.
Right? Does anybody really, like, care what I have to say as a designer? And I said that to my husband, and he was like, well, what's the big deal if they don't care? Like,
yeah.
What do we lose? What do you lose if they don't stitch it? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you you're right again, but you're right again. So that's kind of my approach, is like, I'm going to put out designs that I love, and people stitch some of them, and some of them that I really love, people don't love. But that's okay, because like we print everything at home. Like we're not shelling out a bunch of money to a printer. So really, like, there's not a whole lot to lose. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So yeah, it was kind of like a why not?
So what's been your favorite design?
Why are we sharing a brain today?
Literally,
it's gonna be what I have
to edit my butt out because I'm wearing my sweatpants already. But
I was literally gonna ask that question, Garrett.
I have all my models in a box behind me. I'm super classy. So honestly, my favorite design is.
I love that.
The personal is political.
Yes, I have that on my to-do list.
It's just so the butterfly I took off of a sampler that's up on my wall. It's an antique that I bought, and then it's so like pretty. And this was the thing that made me decide that like I want my designs to be like pretty and kind of like, oh, look how sweet that is. And then when you get closer and you read it, you're either like, oh, or you're like, oh. So, you know, I like that one a lot.
It's a really
like the
nice
size too. I'm like I'm a small designer, I think. I struggle to make things big.
And I actually really appreciate that you're a designer of smaller things.
Yeah.
Because then and this is going to sound possibly a little odd. It doesn't feel at times like I'm slogging to get through.
Right.
Because there are some of the big ones that, even though it's something I really love, it can be a slog sometimes of, really? We're still not done?
Yeah.
Whereas yours are small, so before I get there, it is done.
Right. As soon as you start, that's my goal, right? And that's my goal for like myself too, is small doses, because as soon as you start to get sick of me, like I'm gone. I'll be back later.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to let you forget that you got sick of me.
Go work on something else for a little bit.
Then I'm going to come back. And it's like that with designing too. Like if I can design something small and quick, then it's out and it's designed and I don't have to like slave over it. But designing something big is really kind of difficult, like to fill in the space and to get things to balance. And so, yeah, I mean, I think my things have gradually gotten a little bit bigger, but that size, like the small, 4x6,
like,
I think that's
Literary Alice was a great size.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my sweet spot. That like,
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to stitch.
Oh my gosh, you killed Literary Alice. It looks so good. Like, and that's what I love about my designing is like I don't think any of my designs are so specific that you cannot change them completely. Like any fabric, any floss, make it variegated, make it sparkle, turn it into beads. Like, I love that stuff.
Mhm.
Because I think if I design something, great, that's a good starting point, right? And then
Mhm.
you just take it wherever you need to take it.
That's a
And I
really
love
good
seeing that.
philosophy to have. So many
It is.
designers don't. I mean, I think they've gotten better over the years as they have realized
Yes.
that the community has grown and that there are going to be people out there who are going to make patterns their own. And it's not because they don't like what you did.
Mhm.
It's just because they're making it their own. And
Yeah.
I think
Right.
it's great when a designer encourages that. I mean,
Well,
a
and
lot of
they're
them will be like, that's great, good
Mhm.
job,
Yeah.
as opposed to saying, do whatever you want. Here's my starting point.
Right.
Yeah, and I especially like the designers too, which doesn't happen too often, but when you have to, like, the one I always kind of go back to is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. My wedding sampler was Storytime Classics, and like all of the letters in our last name were there except for one, and I wasn't quite sure what. So I literally emailed them and I explained to them what I was doing. I was like, could you like give me this letter?
Just a letter.
I just need a letter, but I want it to look right, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to make it work.
Mhm.
And they instead emailed me back the next day with like the full name charted
Oh,
into the
that's,
banner, and
I
they're like,
love
"Here
that.
you go." And I was like, "Okay, great." And I love when designers are willing to do that as well, where they go, "Oh, sure, let me do this. This is a great idea. I'm so excited that you want to
Right.
use my pattern in this way." And like, someone, I think Barbara Anna redid her All Creatures Great and Small, like to a secular verse. I think that's who it was.
Oh, yeah,
Don't quote
potentially.
me on this, but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
a religious pattern, and I want to say it was Barbara Anna's. And they said, I'm not religious, but I really like this, and she did.
Yep.
Um,
Jakob, Modern Folk Embroidery.
mhm.
Diana, it is Kismet. And I'm so bad because this is going to be like vague as hell because Diana is stitching one of Modern Folk Embroidery's designs, and it was the same thing. She wanted a different verse, and
Mhm.
she messaged Jakob about it, and he was actually like, I was actually thinking about that verse for this pattern initially, and I already have it charted. Let me send it to you. And she said she had it in like an hour. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Um,
But yeah, I think
and-
it's so flattering when someone's like, I love this, but I want to make it my own. Like,
Mhm.
you just want to help them. I just want to help people.
What's your favorite part about designing?
There are some times that I sit down at the computer because I can't draw. I cannot draw. So I sit down and I open up Pattern Maker, and there are times when I sit at my computer for like 4 hours and I go from an empty page to a fully realized design. And that's another reason why I like them small, because you can't do that with something big, right?
True.
But like if I can sit down and I'm just like in that mode, and 6 hours later, something like that, it's done, it's ready, it's going to a model stitcher. I love that feel. It's like a rush. And then really when the model comes back from the model stitcher and I open it up, it's like Christmas morning every time, because they always, I love my model stitchers. They send me pictures all the time, but it's not the same, right? When you see a picture, when you open it up and you hold it in your hands and like you look at their stitches and they're also perfect. And opening up that return mail from the model stitcher is like, it's because it's so exciting. It's just so exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And model stitchers for life. I don't.
I was about to say, have you ever stitched your own models, or are they all model stitchers?
I do when I'm like in a time crunch and I don't want to put that on somebody.
Sure.
Because I'm the queen. Like, apparently you're supposed to design like a couple seasons ahead.
I know the pumpkins do because they talk about it, and
No,
they're phenomenal.
They're so good. They're so, and like, I attended a retreat last weekend where Beth Twist and Paulette Stewart, so Heartstring Samplery and Plum Street, were featured. And Paulette is like a year and a half ahead in her designs or something like. And I'm like, but I mean, she's a goddess, so of course she's ahead. But I'm like, I have my new fall Hildy to show you guys that I'm about to debut.
But I just finished.
Like, whatever, like, it's cute, it's gonna be fine. But yeah, I tend to use model stitchers because I don't want my design business to feel like a job.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to always stitch my own stuff, then I don't get to stitch other people's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I feel like I might lose interest in the whole shebang and just like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing this anymore. Let me just knit.
I tried back in the fleeting time when I did do some design work, which they're still available on Etsy if you really want them.
Blog, link down below.
We'll put the link down below.
We'll put
We
the
will
link
put the
down
link.
below, but I haven't designed anything now since the first apartment that I lived in, and we moved out of there in the summer of 2017. So it has been a while since I designed anything.
There's always time for a revival.
Sure. That's a word. But that was the thing. It was like, well, I've already designed it. Then I'm going to have to stitch it. So that means I'm doing the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly enjoy that. So I did actually, I did try very hard. And that did not end up lasting very long.
I think it's a hard bit. And some designers stitch all their own stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I know Lila's
Matthews.
studio.
And Carolyn Manning does.
Yeah. And I think that's fantastic. And I applaud them, and I don't know how they do it. But it's, everybody's creative. It's the creative process.
Totally.
Right? So of course it's going to be as different as we all are.
Indeed.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit, because I don't know this story, and I don't know if Katy does either. So tell us about Hildy and her creation and how she came to be.
Yes.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, holy cow.
Dogs forever.
So Hildy came to be because I love Halloween. I am Halloween 365, right? And I think a witch is a witch all through the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I started designing Hildy, and I asked my friend Keisha to design it. She's one of the pattern queens on FlossTube.
Okay.
Well, I asked my friend Keisha to stitch it because I was this was my first Hildy's Brew. And I was at Acorns and Threads, and I was grabbing Threadworks flosses.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed like a whole big handful of all the Threadworks that I love, and they're super variegated and like really beautiful. And then I pulled out, this one is called Autumn Leaves, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The border. And so I just pulled out the colors, and I was like, well, it's Autumn Leaves, so it's Hildy's Brew. She's brewing some stuff. And then I sent it to Keisha to model stitch. And we're having this text, and we're bouncing all these ideas back and forth. And she's like, oh, these bats, we should name them. And I was like, I got Eek and Squeak, but I can't come up with a third name. And she's like, well, it's Brian, of course. Okay, clearly it's Brian. So then Yule, there's Eek and Squeak, but Brian actually became a vampire. Like, Brian is a vampire, and that's Hildy's significant other, right?
Oh.
So of course, because there's mistletoe, Brian had to pop out into his vampire form.
Of course.
Of course. So, and then so there's so many more in the works. Like, Hildy has a werewolf friend that we haven't met yet. Werewolf's name is Nadine. They go adventuring together. Like, it's going to be fantastic.
Nice.
And then there's like Hildy's Strawberry Patch, and she's writing. So lesson learned, I will never finish anything as a strawberry and put it as my cover photo again, because you can't see the damn thing. But hey, we all learn, right?
Exactly.
But I named and I just love and she's in gingham because it's springtime.
Of course.
What do you wear in the springtime for strawberry picking? You wear gingham.
Of course.
I named the ladybug John Wayne, but he's not officially named that because copyright and whatnot.
Course.
But it's just a very manly ladybug.
John with no H.
John with no H. There you go.
Or John with no H,
J-E-A-N.
but Wayne.
Yeah.
Because you could do Wayne with an H. If you want to be, because I do know someone who's Wayne with an H, so you could do JONWHAYNE.
Y-N-E. Perfect. Done. Yes. You guys are the best. So Hildy really is, and when I go live and I talk about I'm live on YouTube and I'm talking about a new Hildy, I get all of these ideas, right? Like Hildy in Paris, Hildy visits the pyramids and she's hanging out with her mummy friend. And so now I think Hildy really has become just crowdsourced. And it's basically I'm taking suggestions for the next Hildy at all times.
So could we potentially see a Hildy mystery Sal?
Now that you know what? We should see a Hildy mystery Sal is what we should do. I just got this amazing fabric from Jody of Steel City Stitchers, and it's begging for a Halloween Sal to be put on it.
Ooh.
So I could do, and then, I'm thinking like a Hildy mystery set would be so much fun, right? Like Hildy around the world or whatever. But then I'm like, well, the pumpkins just did that a couple of years ago. So like, can I do that? Can Hildy do whatever?
Hildy can go to the spooky spots around the world.
That's true. Oh, Hildy's haunted tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
We go to like the Amityville Horror House.
Yes,
Transylvania.
Like
The Winchester, they're because
the
all we have in
Winchester
America
House?
are mystery houses. So
Okay, done.
The Winchester.
you guys, your viewers are getting all these. Okay, I'm gonna hold on. I gotta take a note because I'm gonna forget that by the time we're done.
Sure.
I'll forget that, and then I'll show you guys. I have the new Hildy.
Ooh, yay!
For your eyes only. My husband gets all these random texts. Right now I'm texting him Hildy's mystery tour. And he's like, what?
Okay. Does he know about Hildy?
He knows. Oh yeah. No, so he is like very much my creative director.
Okay.
He actually designed the bats in the Hildy.
Aww.
Cool.
Dealing with them, and he's like, what if you just do this and this and this? And I was like this, and he literally took the mouse and he was like, no, I mean like this.
That's awesome.
They're good bats. But here they are. So this is Hildy's hayride.
Oh,
It's not even finished yet. Like I haven't even FFO'd it.
That is so cute.
That is
Thank you. I'm still looking for a name for the frog. I was actually thinking of calling it a toad and calling it Amy after Amy Loves Toads. I don't know.
What about Hubert? Hubert.
I was also looking for like
Frog.
a gender neutral name because I think the frog is a they. I think they identify as they them.
They them.
That's
okay.
true. They do. Well, the old SNL joke makes me want to go Pat, but
As soon as you said SNL, I was like, Pat. Okay, the frog's name's Pat. And they identify as they them.
it's
Perfect.
Pat.
It's Pat. So I'm super excited. So this will be, you guys are seeing it first. Well, you guys are seeing it second.
Sure.
My patrons saw it because if you remember my Patreon, you get free sneak peeks. But so you guys are seeing it second.
That is
And
so
it's on
cute.
Picture This Plus. I usually put Hildy on Picture This Plus.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I have to, but I have.
No.
Like this is the fourth one on it, so it seems like it's a thing now.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
If
Yeah.
it works for you, it works for
But
you.
she's very like, I think this dress is probably corduroy. She's just very 70s right now. She's
Yeah.
having a 70s hayride moment.
I
can
like
see
that. The colors
Yeah.
are awesome.
Thank you. And it's I
And
forget.
corduroy.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, because mine's more of a jokey thing.
Oh, haha. I forget what this is called. The threadworks, the
Mhm.
border.
It's
But I always
beautiful.
pull. I
Is
always
it bell
pull the-
peppers?
It's like no, it's something ridiculous like hay sticks or something. It's
Okay.
honky tonk.
Okay.
Because I
Hay
picked
sticks,
this one.
honky
'cause it was-
tonk.
It was beautiful, and then I was like, it's called honky tonk though.
It is gorgeous though.
It's pretty. And then I pull
is
the
pretty.
colors out of the. I always pull the colors for the pattern out of the threadworks.
That's awesome.
Because then I figure if you don't want to get the threadworks, you can just like hack together the colors in the pattern.
Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say that in college we always referred to corduroy as the date fabric. You wear corduroy pants when you go on dates. So Hildy's on a hayride date.
Hildy's on a hayride date. And there's
I
Brian
don't
up
know
there
why we
somewhere.
decided it was date pants, but
I don't know which one's Brian, but she's got her date dress on.
yes.
Oh.
But yeah, so I figured, is this a good time to say we could do a giveaway?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna give away the Hildy collection. So you get, which they're all available. Like it's not that exciting, but you get the brew and the Yule and the strawberry. Then the one that is exciting is you get the hayride, which won't be releasing to shops until the first full weekend in November. So the 7th, 8th, so the weekend after this is airing. And then, because I have a lot of stuff and I like to give stuff away, you get a floss buddy,
Ooh.
Wow.
Halloween 365 fabric.
That is awesome.
Because the Hildys they're all in DMC except the threadwork, so you can store your bobbins.
That's so awesome.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
so- And then you guys get to decide how they win and whatnot.
For this one, because we listened to after the Fortnite fabric ones, we did listen. As we promise, we will do all we can to listen. My tits are sagging. Gotta readjust here. So we are going to rotate between platforms. So for this video, or for this giveaway, drop a comment down below to be entered. And then, Katie, what day will we pick a?
Well, how about we give it a week? So we're posting this on Halloween. So
November 7th.
Sure. We'll
Yes.
close it November 7th. And to make sure we actually have an entry instead of just a random comment, because maybe not everyone is interested in joining. I mean, and that's fine.
Which is fine, but I'll find you if you're not.
Well, to be fair, they might already have the other.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to like Hildy. It's okay. I love Hildy enough
because I have no
for
Hildy.
everyone.
I know, it's really cool. Tell us which one of the Hildys is your favorite, and then so that we know that you're interested in entering.
Oh, yeah.
Which Hildy is your favorite? And that'll be your entry. And comment below. You got a week. When we close it, I will put a comment of no entries taken after this mark, so that we know, because we know that not everyone watches this in the first week.
That's smart.
I
should do that.
I can't. I close the comments on Facebook, so I can't do that.
Right, you can't close them here.
No, so I'll just we'll make a comment of entry closed. So
we'll update the description of the video as well.
Yes, we will.
Can I also add that if anybody has a super good idea for Hildy and you want to give me an idea, give me an idea in the comment. I can't wait to read the comments.
We're totally going to put also your links to all of your social media stuff as well. So that they can also go and
There's
see.
a lot of it. They can find me.
Yes, they can find you, and they can send it to you. If they don't have an idea now, but they have an idea later, they can go and find you and do all that. So.
Oh yeah, I'm eminently findable and eminently messageable.
Yes.
You can always message me.
Totally. Yeah. Because we do that all the time anyway.
And people do. I mean, sometimes I don't answer. Do you ever do that thing where you're like, I swear I answered this text 3 weeks ago.
Totally.
And then you open it up and there's your reply right in the reply box.
I forgot to press enter.
Unsent. Yeah. So if I ever don't respond to someone, I just want to put that out there. Just message me again and be like, hey, what's your deal? Respond. And then I'll respond. I totally will.
Same with me. I tend to, or what I'll do is I'll see it, I'll read it and go, I am in the middle of something. I will respond to you later. And then that is the last time I think about it. Yep. And then 3 weeks go by, I'm like, why the hell haven't I heard from Michelle? Oh,
right. What is wrong with that chick? Oops.
Oh, well, yeah, I forgot to do that little thing.
I'll tell you what is my new best friend is that mark as unread feature.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Except then I come back 30 minutes later, forget I marked something as unread, and I'm like, oh, I have a new message.
Oh, no, I
don't. No, it's the same message.
And I'm going to go remark it as unread again, and then half an hour later.
I'll remark it as unread. Yeah, get excited in third. It's a cycle. But it keeps me happy throughout the day.
Exactly. It's the little things. We have to find the little things.
You have to find the little
to stay excited about.
Yes, absolutely.
So so comment below your favorite Hildy from now to November 7th. And then after that, we'll get the drawing and we will announce it, even if it's a quick 5-minute. It may just be by myself, may not be with Garrett. We'll figure it out. We'll go on and say, hey, this person wins. And then we'll make sure you guys get in contact so that you
send me their deets and I'll ship it out.
Yay. So good luck to everybody. Thank you, Michelle. That's so generous of you to do that for us.
No problem.
Yes, thank you.
You guys said giveaway and I was like, I got this. All about those giveaways.
Giveaways are awesome. They're great
so
ways
fun,
to get out there.
right?
They are.
They really are.
Yeah. And when you make floss tube long enough, stuff comes in at a high rate.
Yeah. And
so stuff has to go out. Not only for my sanity, keeping myself not overflowing, but also all this goodness comes in, it has to go back out, right? Otherwise there's a goodness block and you don't want that.
No.
I can't have that on my conscience.
And right now, the more good you can put out into the world,
the better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the better.
That's right. I used to say, because Mr. Rogers used to say, look for the helpers, right? Mm-hmm. And then I realized, probably because I saw a post on Instagram, he told kids to look for the helpers.
Yeah.
We're grown-ups. We have to be the
helpers. Right?
So now I try to be the
weirdest, when you have that moment of realization, it's so weird because it's like, fuck, I'm an adult.
I know. And then it was shortly followed by, I'm doing it wrong. Mr. Rogers, I'll fix it, Mr. Rogers. Like,
Can't let Fred down.
right.
And then I feel guilty because I called him Fred.
I mean, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, sorry, sir. Yeah, I still have those moments having 2 kids even. I'm like, oh crap, I'm the adult here.
Right. Holy cow, I'm in charge.
Yeah, no.
Vegetables.
What's really strange for me right now, and I know, Katy, you passed this ages ago, but
Old.
A little bit. It's the outfit. What can I say?
The sass.
But it's
She'll be younger in the morning.
It's so strange, like when people be like, well, 30 years ago, and I'm thinking like 1970, and then I realize, no, that would be 1990.
Freaking 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think 30 years ago is the 70s.
I actually haven't passed that stage yet, so no, I still think, yeah. There are times where I'm like, okay, especially now, going back to what we were talking about before with helping with the kids so much, I'm like, I feel like I'm back in high school. So when, you're hearing, 30 years ago or whatever, I'm like, no, wait, I'm not in 1990 anymore. I'm in 2020.
Like, there are times where I stop and have to think, God, I'm not 18.
No.
I know.
This came out ages ago.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about it like it was just yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had that a lot now that I've turned 40. There's been a lot this year where I'm like, crap, I'm 40.
We got our high school reunion
Uh-huh.
email invitations this summer. So the 20th, my 20th.
Yep. Mine was a couple
burned.
years ago.
It just burned a tiny bit.
Oh yeah.
I've got 4 more years technically before the 20th is going to come out. My class thankfully didn't do anything for the 15th.
No, we do them on the 10s.
Yeah, we did a 10-year. I didn't go to my 10-year because at that point I was still working at Starbucks and I was still single, and it was going to be at a brewery, and I'm sober, and the only thing for food was going to be like a pizza truck, which is probably going to be fancy ass pizza, and I'm lactose intolerant, and this was before I had the Lactaid pills, and they wanted me to pay $40. I'm like, why am I going to go pay $40 to be around a bunch of people I didn't like 10 years ago?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
To not drink and not eat the food. Right. This does not seem like a good use of $40.
Or a night.
When my 10th rolled around, we were living in Hawaii. And so we get this invitation like, hey, come back to Saline, Michigan for your 10th high school. And I'm like, I don't like you. It's warm and nice in Hawaii. I'm taking myself to the beach and thinking about how I don't like you. Actually, I don't think about how I don't like them. But like, I was like, no, thank you. Decline.
See, I went to both my 10 and my 20, but I didn't find out about my 20 until the night before the 20th.
Oh.
Because they only did it. My senior class was the largest graduating class in Texas that year, and the second largest graduating class in the nation. We had 1,482 kids in my senior class. Yeah, but the row, the row that we all at graduation that we all sat in. It's like, oh hi, nice to meet you. I'll see you never again.
Right.
I didn't know anyone on my row. We had then Governor, future President George W. Bush speak at our graduation because of our size and all. Which, politics aside, kind of cool to say that a future president was at your.
Yeah.
I mean, just on that aspect. Politics aside, just anyway. Gotta go into that too much.
How I don't mind him as much now.
I know, seriously.
It's all relative.
It really is. But so I found out about my 20th the night before, and I actually had the best time at my 20th because a friend of mine had reached out that I stay in contact with on Facebook, reached out and said, am I going to see you tomorrow night? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why wouldn't you see me tomorrow night? I'm going to the reunion. Aren't you going? I don't know anything about the reunion. But luckily, my parents live in town. It was local, so we were able to ship the kids off for the night and go. And we had a really good time. So I had more fun at my 20th than I did at my 10th. So, because I think 10 years out, we're all still a little too close to what high school was.
Yeah.
20 years, you know, we've had longer out of school than we were at the age that we graduated, and life kind of is in a different place. And people that I didn't necessarily get along with as much in actual school, I had a blast hanging out with at the reunion.
Oh, that's so good.
Which is kind of cool, you know.
Good to hear. Yeah.
So, you know, I highly recommend going to the 20th.
You know, I don't think, because my 20th was the height of COVID, right? June 2020. So I don't think hopefully they didn't have one.
Oh, I would hope not.
Yeah. I didn't go. I didn't go.
No,
but we were not hopping on a plane to go back.
No, but that's also a totally different situation too. Yeah. I mean, we'll hit 20 for our college reunion in 2022. So, which will also be my 20th wedding anniversary that year.
Aww.
So, yeah, we were college sweethearts. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one. But that's a much smaller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I graduated from a big state school, and I didn't even go to my own graduation for college.
I went to a very small private Catholic university.
Yeah, University of Michigan. I walked because my mom was devastated that I wasn't gonna walk.
Oh.
And I'm like, Mom,
Mom guilt.
I didn't walk because, and my argument for this was a very solid one of, I was an English major, so it was the largest group is always the College of Arts and Sciences.
Yeah.
I was like, none of my other friends are graduating.
Right.
Where my last name starts with K. We are going to be trapped in the middle.
Yep.
No, and it was like, because I did have a friend who was graduating in May, and she got married over that Christmas break, and her last name started with an A, but her married last name was going to be Janowski.
Oh no.
And she was like, we are not changing names until after graduation.
Right.
I'm not going to my college graduation.
That's a why.
Why?
Now nursing
he was graduating the same semester, so she still was going to have to stay anyways. And she was like, I'm keeping my A for 6 more months.
Nursing school graduation, I think I did it right. So my girlfriend and I, because you got to go up and whatever, like you just sat down and you had a paper with your name on it, and when you walked, they would just read your name. You would hand them the paper, they'd read your name, your walk. So we got like right up in the front of the line because we're jerks. We walked across the stage, headed back down the center aisle, kept right on walking, headed straight out the doors, met our husbands, and went to Five Guys for dinner.
That's amazing.
When I used to take voice lessons in college, I would purposely make sure I was one of like the first 3, and then I would leave.
Yes.
Because it was like, you know, and this was at Ozark, so my small college in Arkansas that I started at. And it was like, there were only going to be like 20 of us, but it was voice and piano. And I was the only one who did show tunes. It was always like, even the other theater majors, our voice teacher made them do like classical Italian and, you know, like Caro mio ben. And then I come out and I do, you know, like,
hello, my baby.
Into the Cloud. I did a song from Into the Woods. And, you know, I mean, so I was like, nope, I'm sorry. I'm piecing on out of here.
Deuces.
And had I stayed my last semester, I was going to get to do my own, my voice teacher, because I was the only one who ever actually really wanted to do show tunes primarily. And our accompanist was this like, really like, she looked a lot like B. Arthur actually, but she was like, and I loved her, but she was very dry and didn't have a whole lot of personality. But she was like, I always wanted to play in like a jazz bar or a piano bar. And so she get like super into what I was doing. And so we were gonna do, it was gonna be called Garrett, Roles I'll Never Play. And it was gonna be all these like big, heavy, like female musical theater ballads. Yeah. I would never be cast in the parts.
That would have been awesome, though.
Like, and I'm telling you, I'm not going from Dreamgirls because no way in hell would I ever be playing Effie White.
No.
Which I should never be. No, I never ever should be.
No, but still.
So that was the whole gist of the cabaret act. It was going to be big songs from roles I was never.
That would have been so cool.
It would have been.
But then I changed schools and.
Oh, I bet she was disappointed.
She
robbed her of that. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
her dream.
So.
We're coming up on Harry Potter time, you guys.
I know. I gotta get going too.
So we've got our last 2 questions. Of course, we're asking all of our So, Katie, do you want to?
No, I don't remember them. You can ask them.
Okay, so what is your favorite swear word?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I like the F-bomb.
That
Okay.
works.
I do, especially at work. I love just.
Yep. It's a very versatile word.
It's so about inflection and
Mhm.
context and yeah, I just, when you really need to like get it out,
Yeah.
it's a good one. It's cathartic.
I do remember the second question.
Our second question, who would you cast in Stitch Mania, the talk show, the movie, as Katy and I?
Oh my God. Shoot.
Forgot we were going to ask this, huh?
Maynia, the talk show,
the movie.
Oh, I can't think right now. Who is Hugh Jackman? I would make Hugh Jackman play Garrett.
Oh,
Because
I like that
I feel
one.
like he brings the like singing, dancing, fantasticness. Yes. Katy. Oh. It's hard. I'm bad at this.
Attention, all future guests. This is too
Freaking take a note, y'all. Where was I? Oh.
And it's fun to put people on the spot.
I know.
Well,
and you're never going to offend us. We're not going to be like.
Well, no, I have like things running through my head, but I'm like tossing them out right, left, and center because I'm like, it's not good enough. It's not. And I want a brunette, but then I'm like, you could dye your hair.
Totally dye the hair.
I just.
I seem to be the
Who's
harder
the
one.
chick from Glee?
Leah Michelle?
I feel like that might be it for me.
That works.
Okay.
I was
like
thinking
her.
that or because she's kind of young for Hugh Jackman, but I think you guys like I don't mind reversing the ages like that.
No,
especially
not at
Garrett
all.
just gave Katy that hard dig a few
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, I'm only what, 5 years younger than you, Katy?
Still, man. 5 years is a lot when you hit 40.
Yeah, 5 years. The closer I'm with you, Katy. I'm pushing 40, and the closer you get to 40, 5 years is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leah Michelle or like not Rebel Wilson. Maybe Rebel Wilson.
I could do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get 2 Australians to play Americans.
It works.
I mean, they do accents.
They totally do accents.
What are we paying them for?
Exactly.
And Rebel Wilson is actually, I think, 40. Like,
there you go.
There was like a whole big
I love
thing
her
around
personality.
I think I like Rebel Wilson more than I like Leah Michelle.
That works.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
I personally prefer Driftwood more than I prefer Leah Michelle. So.
Oh yeah, well, I don't. I think it was the dark brown hair that was getting me.
Yeah, well.
Okay, done. Hugh Jackman and Rebel Wilson.
That works.
I have this theory that Leah Michelle may be a serial killer because there's 3 original cast members of Glee that have all died.
Oh,
but one was her like boyfriend.
He was
love.
dating to well, sure, no one suspects the girlfriend.
Oh God, let's not end on this as
and
sort of
she
crazy
and I
conspiracy.
had this huge rivalry.
That's true.
And yeah, she could be. She's got the shifty eyes.
He said what he said.
We're gonna get a letter from like.
We are defamation, whatever.
Desist.
It's all of his thing, not mine.
You will now not be
just the theory. She probably isn't. But
well, since this is getting posted on Halloween, we'll say one more thing before we go. Vote.
Please vote. There's still time. Don't mail your ballot.
No, it is too late to mail.
But you can take that mail-in ballot, drop it off.
Yes. But, if you haven't already voted, if your early voting is closed in your state, get out there on Tuesday. It is your duty. It is your right. It is your privilege. And we all need to get out there. We need to bring the huge blue wave because...
I was just going to say, let's be clear. Vote
blue.
Vote blue, right? Because what have I been saying every day, Mr. Domestic? Because Black Lives Matter, because science is real, because no human is illegal, because feminism is for everyone, vote blue.
Yes,
because
vote
all
blue.
of that.
Yes.
The literal fate of this country rests on what happens on Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. And on that note, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.